the Maximum Meathead Podcast.
Remix.
Restore.
I love the enthusiasm.
We are back with another episode of the Maximum Meathead Podcast, bringing you the meat, potatoes, the coffee beans, and fitness with bullshit and the whole thing.
Everything.
Punchy Paquette across the table.
What up?
Muscle Bill right here, spitting all this wildness. What's up?
Just mayhem. I loved it. What's up? We got everything. Coffee beans, bullshit, fitness, all that stuff.
Potassium pills.
Potassium pills, lots of them. I'm good, man. I'm doing good.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah, fuck. It's going, man. It's good.
Just, exactly.
Yeah.
Surviving. Mm-hmm. I'm at that stage right now. I'm at a survival state. Just injured, trying to repair, get back to normal.
You're moving better.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm able to sit here relatively pain-free, which is great. Mm-hmm. Way better. It was almost torturous, especially the amount we laughed last time on that podcast with the two taboo girls.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I was hurting unit. Every time I'd shake, it would put pressure on the nerve.
And on your front yard that one night, fuck, it was...
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
Brutal.
Yeah.
You're on the mend.
But on the up and up.
Good. You're seeing some doctors and stuff?
Yeah, seeing all sorts of doctors, which I recommend to everybody because... like I was discussing with you, I've went and seen 4 different doctors, and I have 4 different approaches to what's wrong with me now. Like all relatively kind of encompassing the same stuff to do with my spine, but there's little actions that they want to take separately. They all take different ways, each one of them. One wants to focus on the nerve, one wants to focus on the history of the shingles virus, and the other one wants to focus more on my C4, C5 on my neck, where the other doctor wants to work on C8, T1, and list goes on. But anyways,
yeah,
I'm glad and fortunate to be able to go see all these doctors and get different views, because the last thing I want to do is surgery, obviously. So we'll see what's up, and it's kind of nice taking care of my body again. You know, like it's always the case. It is always the same ordeal. I'm feeling good. Start ignoring all the self-healing and the preventative measures, right? The massage, the chiropractor, all that stuff. Just start ignoring pains because I'm able to, right? I could keep waking up, functioning the next day. Yep. So I'll just ignore it. You know, my hand on fire and numb for like 5 years now, and it's just like, whatever, it still works, so I didn't care. And now I just got to step back and take care of everything, just like
Shit
all my other
down.
injuries pretty much in my life, right?
Yeah,
it's
man.
just, it's always ignoring the little signs that pop up here and there, maybe little or huge signs. Who knows? When you got things to do, you don't got time to slow down.
It's a funny parallel we've been able to make, like your injuries versus my just sort of periodic medical bullshit, but like they both have kind of this ebb and flow and like crashing, you know, varying degrees of crashing hard and not as bad, but like it's been a neat thing to be able to just like talk about that, you know, like you said, the nerve pain and stuff, and it is something that is not like anything else, and it's hard to talk to other people about stuff that you know they don't understand. Yeah, right. And
it's hard to put into words. Like if I had to explain to you 4 weeks ago what I went through, you understood because you've been you felt this kind of pain, I believe, right? That degree where it's almost exhilarating because you didn't even know that existed. You're like, what in the hell am I feeling right now? This, I thought I felt 10 before. This is the new 10. You know what I mean? It's neuropathy is insane, man. Like I've had when I had my back problem, I thought my back problem was the worst thing ever. Well, what was really the bad thing about my back problem is when the disc touched the nerve. Right. That was the worst part of my back problem. So this time, when it's not just like on and off shots of my, like it was with my back, right? Like pain for a bit, and then I'm good for like a day or 12 hours or whatever. This was like 15 minutes, electrocution. I'm just like sweating instantly. I'm yelling. I couldn't stop yelling. Like it was one of those things where it was so painful that your body had to do something. I just
sensory overload.
Yeah, and I would just yell, and that would kind of I was able to cope with it a little bit. That's why when you said the nerve pain was when you're laying down, when you're experiencing nerve pain, that would have been fucking hell, man. Because the only thing that stopped me from going insane is when I was getting electrocuted, I'd jump out of my bed, I'd run around my living room until it stopped. I would just contract every muscle and just yell until it stopped.
Yeah.
And if I wasn't able to move, man, dude, holy shit, I'd want to blow my head off.
I was in legit. Bed. Yeah, I couldn't move at all.
Legit. I'd want a gun to my head, man, because it was so bad. I was like, I don't understand. I called my doctor twice. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. I've felt pain before. I've been through a ringer of shit.
Yeah.
And this is something like new in your books or something. Like, you guys got to check.
You've never seen this before. Trust me. This is new. This is world renowned shit.
Yeah. Meanwhile, on the big picture of things, my 10 the new 10 might be somebody's like 3, 4. You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's where the full circle comes around.
Yeah, which you touch on all the time, right? It's all subjective.
It's awesome. Anyways, it's been a neat thing to be able to relate to.
Yeah.
But similarly for me, there's not a lot of people that can relate to some things that I've experienced, and rightfully so. But then who would have thought that my shit would relate to you with just a nerve pain in your neck?
Yeah.
That doesn't make a lot of sense, but then it makes absolutely perfect sense.
The principle of it all kind of stays the same.
Yeah, and we were able to laugh about it for too long of a time.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it happens.
And in talking about that, we fell upon the concept of this being taken care of, and how that's sort of an interesting dynamic, and it's very, complex.
Very unusual for us, I think, to be in one position rather than the other, and uncomfortable is what I would say I am as the getting taken care of.
Right. I
don't like it at all, man, which is weird because I like taking care of people.
Right.
So you'd think, like, if I like getting gifts to people, I would like to receive gifts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not the same. It's almost like, I don't want to say it's emasculating, but it's like, and I think you're on the same level as me, right? We want to be the nurturers or the security, the provider, whatever they need, that support.
Right.
We like to be that pillar of support. And I know for myself, I have a hard time dealing with it. When I had my knee surgery, thank God my mom told me to shut up, and she came and helped me because I was one of the lessons. Like, I can't do it on my own. I need somebody there, right? Thank God she did come.
Yeah.
And this time was kind of the same deal. When I was in a ton of pain and going through all this madness, and I didn't sleep for a few days, so I was literally going psychotic. And I had friends offering to come, bring me food, console me, whatever, just hang out.
Yep.
And I don't know what it is, and I'm sure we're going to get to it on this podcast, but there's something I don't like, the vulnerability maybe, or something I don't like to show other people, especially that I'm not close with. Like, if you're coming over and I'm all fucked up, that's fine.
Right.
To me, that's fine. Because we're all cool, and you're not going to be like, oh, Joel rubbing my head and shit,
yeah.
which I love. Not from Muscle Bill.
I mean, I'm pretty good at it, but...
But I mean, I wouldn't care as much. But like, for instance, this one girl that I didn't know too well, knew her enough. We've hung out a few times. She offered to come bring food and take care of me, I guess, right? That was her idea. And I'm like, listen, I appreciate it, this and that, but when I'm fucked up, I just like to be left alone. Like, leave me in my own shit. Let me deal with it, and then I'll come back 100%. You only see the good side, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, she ends up coming over and brought me some food and all that. But she only knows me like, nice, Joel. Like, let's have fun.
Yeah.
Everything's good time. She's never seen me angry. Like, she's seen like my fights and stuff like that. But she's remarked that on a couple times, like, oh, you're not an angry person. You're not fucking mean. You're always happy.
Your demeanor is
is different than I probably portray, right?
Sure.
On like, what if people had to guess on social media and shit, like, this guy looks like fucking like he's angry all the time. But so she comes over anyways, and when she's seen me in my spaz state, not on her, but just walking in my living room yelling and just completely contracted and just pretty much out of control.
Yep.
I think it scared her, man, because when I was in bed, she got her stuff and she was out. Like
just bailed.
she just left.
Yeah.
She left and sent me a message. Hope you're getting better. But I was telling her, like, I'm just like, leave me be. She's like, oh, no, I'll stick around. And all it was it was fine for a bit, and then nighttime kicked in, neuropathy kicks into high gear, and then she seen and then I could tell like she was nervous, like, holy shit, I've never seen this side of this guy, right? So then I felt bad. So then this girl comes to take care of me. I feel like a douche in the first place, or I feel weak because she has to come take care of me.
Yep.
And she's got her own shit going on too, right? Mm-hmm. And so she comes take care of me, and then she has to leave, and then I feel bad.
Yeah.
So it's like a double, like, I'm like, fuck.
It leads to a very, or at least it's a conversation I've had a couple times now, but feeling guilty for other people feeling bad or something for you. Like, if, for that example, if you're already the one that's in a lot of pain, you're the one she's coming to take care of. Your reactions in your own home when you're under distress, I don't believe are something you should stress about, because that's your place of comfort. You're at home, you can relax. So if you need to walk around and yell, that's your place to do that. But then for her to leave you or to be exposed to that's vulnerability on your part. But then that's scary on her part. So her leaving, then that you're feeling guilty for scaring her. But you're already the one in pain in your own home, who she persisted to come see.
Yeah.
Right? So this whole cycle of like, you're the one in pain and you're the one feeling guilty, and she gets to leave and you're the one stuck there. Right?
Right.
And it's a very selfish conversation. So, but on both sides, I find, because if you're the one in pain, I feel you have somewhat of a right to be selfish in a lot of ways, especially within your own home.
Right.
But, where does that fall? Like, she wants to take care of you and help. It's like, okay, but how much can you actually help me right now? Because I'm in fucking neuropathy. Like, you can't help my nerve pain.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's a hard dynamic to deal with. And I've dealt with it a lot as far as conversations go. It's like, I'm going to hurt your feelings, but I'm the one doing the shit. So your hurt feelings are now my responsibility, even though I'm not responsible for your emotions. But these negative emotions were caused by me and my very direct state of being, right? I don't have time for your emotional mind shit. I'm in rational mind. Get the fuck out of the way if you're not on board.
Yeah.
And it's very hard conversation to navigate without hurting other people. And I've run into it like a lot. And it's, what do you do though? Like,
yeah, exactly. What do you do? And what are they thinking?
Yeah.
And you know what? I know for a matter of fact, because I followed up with her and she didn't give a shit.
Sure.
She didn't give a shit. Mm-hmm. Like, maybe she was uncomfortable in the situation, but she knows, like, I wasn't mad at her.
Yeah.
Like,
you're not dangerous.
Yeah, I'm not going to do anything to her. Like, I'm just having my little tantrum in the living room.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, like, I was too hard on myself over nothing in that instance.
So here's what I had a conversation with a counselor not that long ago, at least this year sometime. But anyway, she said, in a circumstance like that, because as I said, I've run into it a lot in the last little while, and I'd had a lot of conversations with myself about it. Like, how do you deal with this? But the suggestion was, when you're feeling guilty in general, ask yourself, is this guilt serving me? And if you say, yes, I feel guilty because I did this, and I want that to be the outcome, I feel bad, fine. But if you say, no, this guilt is not serving me, I did nothing wrong, everything, I'm confident in my reactions, in my, home and what happened, I don't feel guilty now. This is just a check. So it's like touching your hand on a stove. You feel pain, ooh, that's hot, move your hand. Well, is it actually hot? No. Okay, so I won't move my hand, it's fine. But if it's actually hot, you fucking move your hand because you're going to burn your skin, right? So there's that, cognizant choice you can make. Is this going to serve me in this instance? Yes or no? Yes. All right, I'll feel guilty. What can I do to improve? How can I change? What can I do now? Versus sitting in guilt for fucking, a day, a night, a week, who knows? And then at the end of the day, well, I didn't do anything wrong. Well, why do you feel guilty? Yeah. Well, I hurt her feelings. Well, did you? Well, no, she's cool. Like, all right,
problem solved.
So then, right, you know what I mean? So you're making assumptions, and I've done it a lot too. I'm like, well, did I actually hurt their feelings? Like, I don't know. It seemed like it. But how long did that last? I don't know. I avoided them for a while because I hurt their feelings, and you know, I just did. I'm like, well, looks like I'm on my own for a bit. You know what I
She
mean?
ain't coming back with no pies.
Yeah, well, she is not going to offer to help anymore.
No. But you know, it was pretty much the opposite in the outcome after talking to her and stuff.
Right.
Like she was back by the end of the conversation. Please let me come over.
Yeah,
blah blah blah. It was like so crazy how we get caught up in our own minds like that. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that is. I guess that would be just how you grew up, or would that be?
Well, this is a thought I had when you were talking earlier. I wonder. You said about how we like being, we'll say, the rock for other people, something to provide. But do you ever think that maybe we like being the rock for other people because we get the sense of strength and there's more of an objective outcome or like proof that we are the rock to them because then they feel better? Versus for ourselves, if we don't feel better in the moment, how effective of a rock are we being for ourselves? So you don't get that same sensation or the feeling of success, right? There's no, oh, I am the rock because look at this. She feels better. Pat my back, I feel good. Versus, oh, I'm the rock. I'm still in pain. I can't do anything about it. There's no sense of strength there.
Yeah, well,
You know
if you're not being the rock, you can't.
But if you are, like if you're by yourself, so for example, like if nobody comes to help you.
Oh, you mean being your own rock? Is that what you're saying? Like
that's right.
being your own support? Mm-hmm. I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've got I don't feel better, so failed.
Yeah, there's
Right?
almost nothing to compare.
Right.
Like, is she feeling better? Yes or no?
Right.
All right, solution. No
Right.
problem.
Good, I'm helping. Bye.
Am I
Continue.
helping myself?
Right.
I don't know.
But if you don't have any objective measure or things that you
exactly,
can test,
right?
it's like, well, am I helping? And then what do? You have the whole kind of rabbit hole of doubt, really.
Yeah.
Until you feel better or you come up with a solution or something, right?
I guess the only way you could judge that, and I kind of got that a bit today, and it was thanks to your perspective with the beach stairs. You know what I mean? Like, okay, am I feeling shitty? Blah, blah, blah. So then I started to hype myself up. Like, hey, man, fuck, you're alive. You're moving. Like, 2 weeks ago, not so much. Like, you're alive, but moving a lot less and a lot stiffer, right? So I think a lot of the self-support, like today, and I can recognize it, I just focused on what I could do, did it, and I felt great. Right. And then I did pat myself on the back because I was like, hey, there was a problem this morning. It was shitty. You motivated, you self-talked yourself with some of your words.
Sure, no, that's good.
But you know what I mean? Like, you have to reaffirm yourself sometimes, so you self-talk yourself.
Yep.
And then once you do it, there's like it's almost like you accomplished something.
You did, absolutely.
Right? In the support point of view, I mean.
What I found quite interesting, I made a post, a week ago or whatever, about rocks and cement and whatever. But, I never put it together before that, but I'm very effective at self-soothing. And I've found that with the things that I'm doing or the messages I tell myself while I'm doing that are the things that other people really respond to. They're like, it resonates, and then they message me shit like, holy fuck, this, like, how did you know that? Like, that's where I'm at and whatever. But it's like, this is all shit. Like, I literally just talk to myself because I feel I can think about things, but I don't hear it. So I might as well say it out loud, and then I hear it, so it's reaffirming
Well,
twice.
what you're doing is you're supporting yourself.
That's what I'm saying. Self-soothing. I am trying to be my own rock.
Yeah, you're saying self-soothing, but that's exactly...
Absolutely.
That's exactly what you're doing. You're doing the other person's part that usually would be.
Yeah. So I do it all the time. But that's insane. That I'm like, okay, well, that's the shit. Like when I posted that I realized that on the drive home from the gym. I said that out loud. I'm like, oh, no shit, that's pretty good. And I'm like, I'm going to put that on Instagram when I get home. Then I got home, fucking blew up all these people like, holy shit, man, thanks, whatever. I'm like,
I seen a bunch of people.
I literally was crying on the way home from the gym, and I just said that out loud, and I'm like, oh, I felt better. That's nice.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, and it worked out. You don't know how many people need to hear that too, right?
No. So anyways, it's a very interesting realization to me. It's like all the shit that I'm telling myself and I'm finding effective, I need to share more of that because
so you're getting a double whammy.
Yeah.
You're doing the self-soothing, and then you're also having the ripple effect of other people hearing that, seeing that, however you put it out there, and then they get it.
Well, I'm glad I put it together because I do it all the time for myself, and I don't. It's just because it's not stuff you really share, right?
No. Well, kind of for you.
Well, it is now, but historically, I just do it.
Yeah.
That's how I just carry on.
Right.
for the last 20 years, I'm very much similar to you. I'm in my own head. I don't want other people to deal with this. Like, leave me alone. I know I can do this. I'm good at it. I do it by myself ish. Like, I'm not saying people don't help me. My parents have been amazing, whatever. But all that aside, like, I'll be fine. I can self-contain and do this and then come out on the other end. But I never told anybody for 20 years or 25 years about any of that shit.
Yeah, that's true.
I just put my head down and go.
Well, you had a different perspective on it, right?
Absolutely.
You seen it more as like a complaining or a have what do you say, pity for me, right?
Burden and stuff for sure,
right? Where it ended up being the complete opposite. It was more motivational for people,
right? No,
that's just your own mindset, right?
Absolutely.
So that's crazy how, like, just going back to what we were thinking, right? You're being so hard on yourself, like, oh, I don't want to burden these people with this shit.
Well, it didn't even really cross my mind that much. I just I'm not going to share this because I'm just solving my own problems and carrying on.
Right.
So what's the point in sharing with anybody? Because I'm just dealing with it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, you didn't think it was a shareable thing.
Why would I tell you about me helping myself? It's not like I'm like, hey, Joel, check out how good I am at helping myself.
Yeah.
Like, good job, dude. I don't know.
But basically, your talks that you've done is that.
Exactly.
Right?
I know.
So
I know, but
it all depends how you put it out there. The answer is yes, but you made it seem funny saying it that way. But when you listen to the talk, which is exactly that,
right,
it makes sense.
Yes.
You're like, oh, look at this guy, how he's dealing with his shit. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I could deal with my shit like this. Yeah,
everybody
the sand beneath me. Yeah.
Right.
I get it.
Yeah, I don't know.
So where do you stand then? Like, I mean, like how I answered it in the beginning. Mm-hmm. Where do you stand with how comfortable are you with letting people take care of you?
It's tough.
And there's two different types because I'm thinking two different ways right now. There's nurses,
yes,
which you and I both love, and you have way more history with nurses. And then there's just like people in your life, right, that aren't getting paid.
Yes, contextually is very important because in the nurses in the hospital, I'm 100% comfortable with that. Like it's
me too.
Indefinite gratefulness. Like anyways, it's amazing. So, but in doing that, so I think there's a large potential and untapped emotional connection in my life, which actually,
I love how he's figuring it out live on spot. You should see his eyes are looking top right. He's looking at the ceiling. He's like, ooh, yeah, he's nodding at himself.
I think that there's definitely a longing for an emotional connection on a level that I can correlate to on a different context, but with nurses in the hospital. So what I mean by that is, so say, when I was in the ICU there last summer, in bed, I had surgery in bed for a week, had all this shit, whatever, I'm plugged into tubes. They pulled out the line in my groin, and I was cleared to have a shower. Cool. At the time, 3 other tubes in my arm and my hand. Other arm couldn't move, was all swollen and shit. But I got to have a shower. So the nurse, she literally just went to the bathroom, my IV pole, pretty much stood there with my arms out straight, and she just washed me down. She had the shower head, cleaned me, whatever. And it's amazing, right? It's like you would have been so grateful. In the moment, there's this interesting, there's a feeling of helplessness in that I can't do this myself right now, that's simultaneously being overwritten by actually being helped by the person there. So there's gratitude, there's respect, there's all that. And that's all tied into this whole shower experience. And you're like, thank you so much for doing that. And then you go back to your room and whatever. But in saying that, in a relationship context, I think that's something that, first of all, I've never experienced. So, but I think that level of connection with my partner is something that I hope to find. Because I've never experienced any other feeling like that gratitude, that respect. But if you could tie love to that as well in your relationship, I think that would be infinitely deeper connection that you just don't experience day to day.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Yeah, I wonder. No, I wonder if that's the thing, because it's like, oh, I wonder if I'm. No, I wonder. I do. I would like that, because I don't.
Well, is it a comfortability thing then too, or like?
Well, I wonder if it's not partially, but I think in a relationship I'm pretty comfortable. I wonder if it's not that sense of like leaving, because in the hospital, you know, they're not gonna. The next day, different nurse, they're gonna shower you too. You don't have to worry about tomorrow. Is that person gonna come in and help me again? Because they're going to.
Right.
At home, yeah.
She might shower you once and say, I never want to do that again.
Well, yeah, I've never even got to the first shower before.
Oh.
Right?
Right.
So that's like, I have been self-sufficient in that sense my whole life, but I know that level of connection is available.
Yeah.
Because I've experienced it in a different context.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, as I'm realizing right now, I very much would like that connection in my home life, because it's like, but not only the connection, but I think to not experience the doubt or the fear of someone just saying, oh, fuck, I'm out of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's huge.
Right.
Going to bed at night and saying, oh, tomorrow I'm going to have some help showering again. That'd be dope.
Yeah. You
wake up like, oh, shit, you should do it again. Look at this.
Just the fact of not having to think, is she going to be here to help me?
Is this too much? Am I being a burden? Because I know I'm not a burden on the nurses. It's what they do all day, every day, right? So why can't I? I mean, it's definitely more complicated than that, because I think I could apply it in the context of my home as well, but I've never been given the opportunity. Which brings me to my heart surgery. I almost did. You know, that was kind of the plan. My ex and I was planning, I'm going to be down and out, pretty fucked up for some amount of time. This will be a huge opportunity for bonding. As we both know, that didn't come to fruition. Right. I ended up doing it all, I mean, with my parents' help, but like I showered on my own. Yeah. And the bathroom, like even things like sitting down, like I couldn't use my upper body to keep me from sitting on the toilet. So I had to like trust fall onto the toilet. Right. Yeah. But then like my nuts were so big, they wouldn't fit in the toilet. So how do I trust fall to get my shit?
Sit on your nuts too?
Yeah, so you know what I mean? Yeah. So like this kind of complications, but it's stuff that I've always had to do and figure out when I get it done, and fucking I go. Yeah. But to be able to be like, hey, can you like push my stuff down so it doesn't get crunched in the toilet seat? That'd be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And then have that done and be like, that's not even a problem for you?
Yeah.
How fucking awesome would that be?
Damn, man.
Right?
Yeah.
So anyway, to answer your question, I think I'm open to being taken care of if the aspect of leaving or, you know, being left behind would be, I don't know how you'd alleviate that, because it's always...
That's what I mean. Like,
but I think for me, it takes time. It takes evidence of like, there's more time under the bridge. There's more experience had together. There's more built together in the relationship. So I find in rational mind, the probability of them just packing up and leaving because, you know, whatever goes down, right? From day one, I'd probably be like, I don't know about today. But like, I don't know, 3 months, 6 months, depends on the level of connection you build with your partner over time, right? Yeah. Some of that shit can happen quick. Yeah. Some of that shit takes time. But I think if you're able to cultivate a deep connection right away, I would be able to accept help more willingly, or at least navigate that space. Because as you said, you got up, you run around and you yell, whatever, I'm in so much pain, I don't know what to do, I don't know how I'm going to react. So very similarly for me, I'm like, I don't like having to be pleasant all the time. Yeah. And so if I'm at home, you know, I'm tired, my body hurts, head, whatever it is, like I don't want to be responsible for hurting your feelings because I'm fucking grumpy right now. I just don't. So if I could somehow, you know, lower that, or, you know, have an agreement where it's like, all right, not even an agreement. I think that to be unspoken, I don't know. I feel like maybe that's optimistic for me, but maybe not. To be like, clearly I'm fucked up right now. You can see that. So if I'm a little grumpy, that makes sense. But I don't want to say that, because just saying that like that, that's being condescending. And, you know, it's like, are you okay? No, I'm fucking not okay. Why'd you ask that? Like, I'm not. So how about you keep it to yourself?
Right.
You know what I mean? But like, what do you, I don't, yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to juggle.
I feel like it's something that's possible though.
Do you think when that time comes, you're going to be scared to, for instance, let's say you meet a girl, okay, you fall in love with her. All of a sudden, you know something's coming up medically.
Yep.
Okay. Let's say you've known her for 3 months, but your things are banging off. You got something medically coming.
And we're not married yet.
And you're not married yet. No,
Weird.
She's Canadian, so you didn't marry her.
Oh, okay.
So
Interesting concept.
you know some medical problems are about to arise,
Yep.
and let's say like the heart surgery, right? You knew you're going to be down.
Yep.
How willing are you going to be to try to keep them in your life when you're in such a vulnerable stage, or are you going to be afraid that it'll be too much, and you'd rather just try to deal with it, see them after you deal with it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, as I said, I think it depends on the level of connection you're able to build in the meantime.
Yeah.
Because if
It's hard to know when to test it, though. You know what I mean? Like, some point it might be too soon. Like, we haven't built those grounds yet. I know in our head we'd like to magically think you meet this girl, and all of a sudden you have every connection.
for sure.
Right? Oh, I feel like this is the one that day.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's not the case, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're still going to be working out the kinks, and you're still going to be wondering, what's in her mind still at that stage, and are you willing to put that to the test? Like, eventually I think it'll become a hard issue to be that vulnerable again, because like you said, you don't know if
Well, I guess a couple things about that. In one hand, if I'm willing to go into a relationship with someone, it's already going to be a conversation that's going to have been had, because it's just going to be in my horizon sometime. So I don't think that I would be with somebody right now or moving forward if they weren't somewhat already on board and or if we hadn't talked about the mindset or the situation of how that actually looks like in the real world with us, But I think
it's tough, man, because I don't. Let's say I put myself in every relationship I was in, even the ones where I thought I was like, all right, this is the one type deal.
Yep.
I think still, if it came down to I knew I was going to have a medical condition all of a sudden, I'd probably just break it off.
That's the story of my life, like forever now, though, right?
Yeah.
So like, there's actually
that's what I mean. Like, how are you going to overcome that? Because that has been the story, right?
So to answer, I made a YouTube video a while ago. I'm going to make another one. I've just been putting it off. But this is exactly what this is all about. So this is perfect.
Things are coming together.
So when I thought about it before, I thought, an event diagram, they've got the 3 circles and they overlap a little bit.
Yep.
And there's the circles in this one in particular is understanding, acceptance, and fear. And I find surrounding like a lot of things really, but in the application of my medical stuff, when understanding is limited as it is, like even doctors in my case have a limited understanding of how things work for me. So you take that down levels from doctor to nurse to partner to me, like all this new person, understanding is relatively low and fear is absolutely pretty high. Because it's a lot of stuff to take in. It's a lot of information that most people don't really know what it means, right? So there's a certain degree of acceptance that has to come with that, in that it's there. So if you want to be part of my life, you need to accept, one, the shit that you don't understand or you have a limited capacity to understand, because everybody does, and even myself included. And then also, accept that you're going to be a little bit scared of that, but hopefully that fear will shift out of the Venn diagram. So this is where the hole in that thinking went to, and I think that a pie graph makes more sense. Because how do you objectively measure how much 3 circles overlap? Like, you think in my imagination,
you think one would just go down and one would go up,
right? But how much?
I don't know.
Like if they're overlapped, you have like shade. If you think of little pictures, you got some shadowy
pie
shit.
graph for sure.
So I'm thinking, all right, fuck all this little bits, because if let's just say I find someone, it's great, they're the one, they're gonna deal with this Venn diagram. That's a problem, because how do I know how much of each circle is overlapping? Well, I'll solve the problem by replacing the Venn diagram with a pie graph, so that if day one say the understanding's at 15%, and then the fear is at, say, 50%, and then that leaves me with 35% of acceptance.
Yeah.
Because whatever, that's some. So, all right, we're dealing with a base of 15% understanding, 50% fear. We got a lot to work with. There's a lot of opportunity for improvement there.
Yep.
And I feel like in my own rational mind way of thinking about love, like that fear will decrease in percentage. So if day one, here's our pie graph in my mind, I can be like, okay, you know what? I just made an assessment of this relationship, made a pie graph in my head, so I'm going to tell you about it because clearly. and then say something comes up, right? And then it's like, all right, so hopefully that fear element doesn't grow, because I feel quite confident that the bigger the fear gets, the higher the likelihood of someone leaving or the relationship failing.
Correct.
Regardless.
It's got to get taken away from something else.
Because
either acceptance or understanding.
Right. Understanding typically doesn't go down, because once you get to a certain level of understanding, I mean, as things get more complicated, I guess you could theoretically be less understanding, but that's not typically the case. If you're at 15%, it's staying there.
I see where you're going with this.
So then the acceptance goes down.
Yeah.
So that pie graph does not benefit me, right?
Yeah.
So I think the more confidence I have in that acceptance level, superseding the fear, while the understanding remains somewhat constant, I feel like that's when I will be able to relax and let that happen. Because I don't know how shit's going to go, so I'm not going to pretend to. I have a pretty good idea, and that's kind of one of the problems with my thought processes. I'm very logical and rational, and so it's very hard to poke holes in my thinking.
Right.
Because I think about and especially with the context of myself, I'm familiar with as much of this stuff as anybody. So if you think from the outside you're going to think about it more than I am, or some weird angle, you're not.
Right.
So I'm definitely going to convince you of my thought process, because I'm fucking right.
Yeah.
Right? It's not that I'm not open to new potential, but you're not going to present to me something new.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
In a rational mind thinking.
Yeah.
But the holes in my thinking are largely in emotional mind, because I'm not good at that, and that's where relationships become difficult.
Why aren't you good at that? What makes you not good at that, in your opinion?
I think I just have operated in rational mind so much of my life, and it's been so much information taking in. These are all facts about you. This is what we're looking at. Here's percentages. Here's complications. Blah 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 blah. Taking that in all the time.
Yep.
Making assessments every day. Even right now, I had a conversation about this the other day. I have so many plates spinning, like metaphorically speaking, every day of my life, every second I'm alive. It's very tiring.
Yeah.
But that's just the way it is. For me to stay alive, I need to balance these plates and keep them fucking spinning, because when they fall, that's not a good thing.
Yep.
So I can't afford to get tired and lazy, and that's hence this saying, keep going, right? Like, if I don't keep going on all of these things, shit's going to hit the fan and it's game over. So anyway, that's 2 weeks ago. I had a really heavy week because I was feeling pretty bad. Body was acting all crazy and all that shit. And I was like, fuck me. Like, these plates, I'm pretty tired of this shit, you know?
Yeah.
And not in the sense of like suicide and all that kind of stuff. It's just like, I'm tired.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shit spinning on. I take almost 400 pills a week, all prescription. Like, none of that's by choice.
That's fucking insane.
You know what I mean? So it's like, just to stay alive, I sleep with a machine on my face. I take 400 pills a week. I get an experimental medical drug. I drive to London. I got all this shit. I got surgeries. My body's all hacked up. My limbs are changing, turning black. Like, I don't even know what's happening all the time.
Yeah.
But all this shit is real. And it's just, I need to keep track of it.
Yeah.
So for someone else to come into that, it's like, I don't expect you to keep my plate spinning, but you need to realize and somehow understand that it takes a lot of energy to keep them going. And at times that will limit my capacity to have energy for you. And that's going to have to go in waves a little bit, you know? So say 2 weeks ago, I did not have a high threshold for other people. It's like, I just got too much shit on my mind, you know?
Yeah.
So anyways, emotional mind, in a sense like that, I don't have time for it. And that's the most rational mind way to think about emotional mind. I don't have time for it. But, you know what I mean? I just don't. Because if I break down and start, if I get depressed and stay in bed all day, I miss a day worth of pills, that's a big fucking problem.
Big problem.
I can't do that. You know?
Luckily, you don't think. Luckily, you're bad at it, as you say, bad
Yes.
at this emotional thinking. Because, like you said,
I'd be dead.
you'd go down,
would be.
man.
Yeah.
If you didn't think logically and just think, I got to keep moving forward, and you thought just with your emotions, man,
I wouldn't be here.
my
And
God.
that's just it. So I don't think it's something that I absolutely like about myself. I like that I'm very, analytical in the sense, but it is absolutely where I have a lot of room for improvement, or at least for improvement in my understanding.
Right.
And incorporating someone else's more, I wouldn't say even more emotional, but just the ability to go between both more fluidly. I have a lot of room for improvement in that and opportunity to make that better. So
It's interesting. I don't know if I agree with you. I don't know.
what sense?
In the sense that I think you're fine emotionally. Honestly,
I do too,
like
yes.
you're not scared to show emotion.
Right.
I think you're a great listener. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what all the variables are to being good emotionally, but I think if you take a realistic approach to emotions,
Yes.
that's the way to do it. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm aware of them.
you can't change. You can't change. You got to think the way you got to do it the way you are, because it's a survival thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need to change?
I don't want to, right? It's not, I don't think it's about changing, but as I said, the incorporating someone else's thinking is, I have less, I don't want to say patience, but kind of is patience now than I ever have for that, because it's like, if you don't understand why I think the way I do, I'm not going to take the time to explain it to you more than once or twice, because that again is a waste of energy.
Right.
And if you're not on board with it, that's cool. Like, I'm not asking you or expecting you. I'm not, your choice is your choice, but this is the way I am. And this is the other thing too. I feel like we work on things on our own, but they're only ever tested when they're actually applied with someone else, right? So theoretically, I am a much better partner than I was, say, 2 years ago. I'm quite confident in that. But until those buttons are pushed and the emotions are used, whatever, all that shit, I can't actually know for sure that I've improved or changed in any way on my own, because otherwise it's just a conversation with myself, and obviously it's going to make sense because it's fucking rational.
Yeah.
That's the way it works.
Yeah.
Right? So, anyway, yeah.
So you think maybe the person you need to find is also a rational, emotional thinker?
No.
You don't think they could have the same approach and it would work?
I don't know. I feel like maybe we butt heads too much.
Maybe.
And like, I do enjoy the emotional stuff sometimes. Not in the sense that it's like freak out, cry, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, the crying's okay too, but like,
Oh, it's living.
I
right?
found, yes, right. I find what do they call that? The magnitude. So if the busier someone is in their thinking or in their emotions, or the higher they are, I find that the distance between them and me becomes very apparent, and that to me is very calming. Because if I'm operating on this lower level frequency, somewhat calmer, more rational, thinking about shit all the time, whatever, I'm busy in my thoughts, don't get me wrong. But like, if I'm down here with my thoughts and someone else is up here riding the wave of holy fuck, what's happening, blah, 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 I'm very aware of how still I am versus how busy they are.
Yep.
And I'm like, I find that very grounding. It's like, okay, you're doing a good job. You're containing yourself. You can be that rock for someone and provide that sense of calm. Because at the end of the day, I mean, ultimately, that's one of my favorite things, being that calming energy in someone else's life. Because I know I'm a calming energy, right? It's just what it is most of the time.
Yeah, for sure.
So I like that awareness to, like, you're riding a bit of an emotion. That's cool. I'm there with it, but I'm going to ride my emotion down here.
Yeah.
Right? Because if we're both riding up high, shit's going to get fucking crazy.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that...
And I guess if you're both at that same level, maybe it would just be dull.
Right.
Either dull or butt heads, like you said, right?
Yeah, like, oh, well, my rational thinking is this. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't agree with you.
Yeah.
I don't. It's my body, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, now you don't have that excuse. You're thinking emotionally.
Right.
They'll be like, no.
And I think too, it's there's less potential for understanding in the sense that I know I have a huge hole in my emotional mind awareness. I think I'm pretty emotionally aware myself, but like I said, with other people, it's like there's a lot of room that I can learn from and understand how they think and apply that. And then how do we work with that dynamic? That's a lot of fun, or could be a lot of fun to figure out, right? Versus, oh, you think just like me, great, that's easy. And then it's like, well, now, okay.
Women are the funnest things to try to figure out, man. It's just pure chaos, man. Mm-hmm. I don't know what makes them tick, but I just find it's just amazing. It's amazing. It is. Trying to figure out girls is just insanity. It's one of those goals that'll never reach its end, so it's perfect.
Well, especially if you have, like, you don't stay with the same one forever.
Yeah, like different experiences, which has been my case. I'm single, and I've been single for a long time.
Yeah, same, yeah.
Yeah. So,
but what do you do?
Nothing.
So in saying that about in going further, so that's how you feel about being taken care of. How do you like approach trying to help someone else? Because you said about it's gift giving, but also there's gift giving and then there's acts of service though too, right? And in that love language bullshit, those are two different things. So you can distinguish between giving them something versus making them something. Okay. Like there's two different avenues, right? It could be the same thing. I'm giving you food that I made. Yeah. That's both kind of, right?
Yeah.
But, and then if you give it to them, you're giving to them and spending time, probably. So there's all those components there too. But how do you intuitively help someone in that instance?
Let's be a bit more specific. Yeah. If just helping people in general, the approach I took, I'm a super aggressive guy.
Yep.
And I find that's the only avenue where I'm not. Do you know what I mean? When you ask somebody if they need help and they're vulnerable, you got to be nice. Because if you're like coming at people aggressively, when you're doing that, it's going to throw them off, right?
Yeah.
I was just reading a thing on the internet the other day because how do I tell these stories without putting too much information out there? I was with a woman who was dealing with, I guess, an anxiety attack, and this is just recently. Mm-hmm. So I thought I was helping her with the words I was saying. Then I looked up on the internet, and not saying that the internet's correct, but there was a lot of things that made me think, and it was a whole list of like things you should say and things you shouldn't say.
Yep.
Like, shouldn't say, you're fine.
Right.
Calm down, you're fine.
Yeah.
Okay, I was saying that. I was saying stuff from both columns, like, hey, listen, because like I said, I try to step back when someone needs help. So first I'm like, hey, you're safe with me?
You need space. Yeah.
Do you need space or do you want my attention right now? Like one or the other. Yep. That's step one for me.
For sure.
Okay. So if they just say space, I just leave them with, if you need anything at all, I'm here, this and that. Right? Yep. Otherwise, if they need help, what I try is try to get. It's almost like podcasting, you know. You gotta try to, you gotta pull it out of them without taking a side.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Yep. And you don't want to be on the side that she might think you're undervaluing maybe what she's going through, or like
you don't want to minimize it.
Yeah, you don't want to minimize it, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to be, that's fuck all. Don't worry about it. Hey, calm down now.
Yeah, that's cool. Forget about it.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So my approach is, and I like that I dealt with a specific instance because I thought I was handling it well. Then afterwards, it went over well. Like she was happy that I consoled her and stuff. And a couple of the good things were she was very apologetic, and I was like, "Listen, do not apologize. It's the worst thing because I know I get like that, and it's just like there's no reason for it. There is no reason for it. Just like that girl who left because I was screaming in the house. I was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't want you to see me angry. Blah 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 blah. Doesn't fucking matter. None of it matters. So I don't know even where I was going with this, but my approach is I try to step back, not be aggressive, let them kind of show them they can be vulnerable and it's okay and it's safe.
And I think just to further that, I definitely agree with that largely. And I think what I've typically done, or at least more recently, it's like, thank you for allowing me to participate in that moment with you. And, if there's anything else you want to do, you want to talk about it later, let me know. But that kind of stuff I don't typically want to bring up on my own because I know for me sometimes I just don't want to talk about it.
Yep. Same.
It happened, except it's over. I'll deal with it, or I am dealing with it, or I'll let you know when I'm ready, whatever. It's like, don't ask me every day, hey, is today the day?
Yeah.
So that's just my approach to other people too. Typically it's like, look, thank you. I hope is everything all right, whatever, and carry on. All right. What do you feel like doing now? What about, and that's really my whole approach most of the time is like, well, what now?
Yeah.
In every like relationship or in instances specific, like, all right, you had a freak out, everything's cooled down. Do you want me to take you home? You want to go back to my place? You want to go for a walk? Like, you tell me, what am I going to do right now that's not just going to sit in the car, wait, and figure out? Like, we can't sit here forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not to imply pressure to get over it or move, but like, let me know what's next.
So let's say you do approach someone that you know is having some kind of issues,
Yep.
and they're like a person like us that just doesn't want to relay it to anybody.
Yep.
How would you prod that out of them? If you know they have an issue and you want to help because there's someone you care about, let's say, and they're just like, no,
Yep.
shutting you down, how would you get that out of them? Because I find it's like, because I take the step back approach, I find it real hard to like follow up with these people and when I know there's something wrong,
So two things. Sometimes I think that we want to help because it's a selfish reason, because we want to feel better that we help someone. Hey, good for you. I helped them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if they don't ask, and not only that, if they don't want it, it's not good for you. You're causing more problems.
Yep.
In my opinion.
Yep.
So if that's, assuming that that's not the case and that's not what I decide, then okay, we're going to help. Then most times, and this is something where I find with people that are not really approach me in person, mostly on the internet, shit that I post or whatever, they'll tell me things, right? Like it's kind of a vulnerable situation and share information and circumstances, situations. And what I do, this isn't really a thought out thing, but I just share from my personal experiences as well, because I feel like when I can offer a sense of understanding, that in turn helps, right? So I don't, well, for example, there's another guy, I got a message a couple weeks ago, happened to be in the hospital sitting in Emerge at that moment.
When he read your post?
So he reshared it. I replied back. It was this whole odd situation. I woke up at like 6 a.m, which I don't do. And I went straight to my phone, which I also don't do anymore. And I sat down my phone. I go, I got a reshare thing. Reposted, whatever. Wrote him back. I was like, hey, thanks, man, whatever. And he's like, yeah, dude, having a rough one. I'm sitting in Emerge. And I'm like, oh, shit. Like, what's up? Turns out he's having some blood pressure issues. They're checking him for heart attack. They're doing all this stuff. He's like, I'm sitting in the hallway scared, basically, right? And I'm like, fuck, man. Like, and I just started talking to him like, well, this, and this. And he's like, how did you know? That's what I'm feeling, I'm like, dude, I've been there. You know?
Yeah.
I was convulsing on a fucking stretcher in the hallway. You're just there. What happened? Well, what do we do? Nothing. We're there. We're on for the ride. You fucking buckle up. I don't know. But in doing that, he was like, dude, thank you so much for taking the time and sharing with me. And I'm like, man, first of all, I just woke up like, you're welcome.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing I have trouble with, is just acknowledging, instead of saying, it's no problem, saying, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing with me and taking the time, because you're the one in the stressful situation. So I can appreciate it's not necessarily easy to share right now. And he's like, man, it's the first time all week I haven't felt completely alone.
Nice.
Because nobody understands. None of my friends. He's like the young kid out of university, healthy guy, no problems before. All his friends are young and healthy. And he's like, nobody understands. They're like, oh, hopefully you're feeling better, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, trust me.
Yeah.
I don't need to ask you how you feel right now, because I'm pretty fucking confident.
Yeah.
In that. And anyway, he's like, I appreciate that.
Crazy, man.
So it was super neat. Really weird. Like I said, I woke up, couldn't sleep, got up, and anyway, had this conversation. I was like, fuck.
Crazy,
What do you know about that?
That's nuts.
It was, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that was the Friday night was when I wrote the fucking cement thing, and I was having a super hard week and night and whatever, feeling the worst I was feeling, whatever. And then Saturday morning, I wake up, read this thing. I'm like, there's my energy to keep spinning on my fucking plate.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, thank you so much. I'm literally living it right now. And I'm like, fuck. All right, well, this got so much easier to go. And then that's when I wrote all the rest of did another batch of my cards up. I'm like, all right, I got to put this energy into these fucking things.
Yeah.
Because that's perfect.
And that's where it is good, I think, the pat on the back. Like, you did good. You know, it's good.
Oh, dude, I needed it. Yeah, absolutely.
It's good to have those moments where I help someone. Yeah.
Yep.
It's supposed to feel good to help someone.
And
don't feel selfish because you did something to help. You didn't even mean to directly on this person.
It just happened. It worked
total
out.
selfless act, obviously. But
no, at the same time, acknowledge when you do something good, because you sure as fuck acknowledge when you do something bad.
Yeah. Well, think of how much it pumped you up.
Yeah, man.
Now you're sending a card out to across the
I'm sending them all over there right now. Yeah.
Crazy.
No, it's anyway. So that's typically my approach is to just share or also be vulnerable and just kind of navigate the situation.
Yep.
Sometimes sharing isn't necessarily appropriate or doesn't feel to be what will be beneficial. But I don't know. I think if you exhibit some vulnerability, then it just helps them feel more comfortable in also being vulnerable, because most of the time when you're in the midst of it, you don't have as much of a choice of whether you're going to be vulnerable or not.
Right.
And that's where I think we're inclined to push people away. Like you said, I don't want you to see me like this. I want you to see me at 100%.
Yeah.
When I'm fucking bang, 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 let's go. We're having fun. But the reality of it is that's not all the time.
No,
and
exactly.
To have someone in your space at that time, it's a very sort of special dynamic, and it's not easy to navigate. So
no, I don't even know if I'll ever accept that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, dude, I don't know either. I feel confident that I will be able to, as I said, but it's very much like if this and that, then okay. You know what I mean?
You know what I think it is? Wishful thinking, bro.
Dude, tell me about it. I know. But if I'm not an optimist, I'm fucking nothing. So I'll take it.
That's right. Yeah. We'll take it. Fuck yeah, she's happening, boy.
You never. Yeah, we'll see. But anyway, it's a hard thing.
Yeah,
very complicated.
It is. It's super complicated. We're both. You more so on a continuous basis, but like I get waves of it too, where we're both in vulnerable spots, and it's I don't know if I'll ever be able to accept it, man. But like you say, I'm the same way in the hospitals. I love nurses. Anybody that's like in that industry, man, that takes care of people, it's unreal. I'm thankful for them. They know I'm thankful because when I'm there, I'm like, holy shit, hey, you brought me Jell-O? Holy fuck, you don't even know me. You know what I mean? Like, I absolutely love it. And it's interesting that you brought up the comfortability level, because you're right. I've never even been near that comfortable that nurses, the state that nurses have seen me, playing with my shriveled stuff because I'm all messed up. Like, I don't want chicks to do that.
Yeah, man. Catheter, I mean? Like,
stick a catheter in.
Putting them in, taking them out. And it's like even, wiping stuff down. It's like, you can't move, you can't get up. All right, well, someone's got to do it. And obviously nurses for me have a huge place in my heart. They always have and they always will. Yeah. But
have you ever dated? Oh, yeah, you have. You married one.
Yeah.
A nurse.
She was a RP or like an LVN, whatever. Basically an RPN sort of. But like in America, they have different certificates. You can do like all their stuff without being a full RN and stuff. It's weird.
Oh yeah, get little side certificates to do more stuff.
Yeah, so you're like mostly an RN, but then anyway, I don't know. It's neat. Anyways, but otherwise no. So, which is surprising to me because I figured for sure I'd just navigate.
That's what I was just thinking.
Like,
do I know any nurse muscle build girlfriends? I don't think so.
Just a shout out, just in case there's someone listening, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
What'd you do? What did you do?
I was one of the times I was hospitalized shooting my shot. I asked one on a date when I got out.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm like, I was getting released or whatever. I'm like, this. I mean, it's hard, right? Because she also seemed quite friendly, so I wouldn't typically do that. But anyway, I was like, so what's up? What's up with your home life here? What's the situation? And she kind of beat around the bush. I'm like, all right, well, that seems kind of potential, And I'm like, well, I'm out of here next week, so, you could look me up or whatever. I can't look you up, and is it kind of off? Like, it's against the rules, I'm like, when I'm not a patient anymore, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to push because fuck it. I might as well ask. You don't ask, you never know.
That's right.
And anyway, it didn't fare well for me, but anyway, I thought good for me.
Yeah, good for you.
I fucked up wearing a gown.
Exactly, right? You're in that condition.
I can hardly wipe my own ass, and I'm like, well,
she probably just finished. Well, now that we're comfortable.
Anyway, now that we have that taken care of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hilarious, man. I don't even like girls farting in front of me. And I don't fart in front of girls either.
Yeah.
That's one of my things.
I think being married now, it still is a thing for sure, but it's definitely not so much because it's like I've been part of a lot of shit that whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care anymore.
Yeah, see, I haven't really. I've been able to just keep on going how I'm going.
Duck and weave. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been all right.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It's all perspective, I think. Like, for me, it's like, if that's literally the most stressful thing that's happening right now, is like, oh, shit, am I going to fart?
Yeah,
that's pretty all right. You know what I mean? Like,
Could be worse.
I'm doing all right. My pie graph is looking pretty promising right now. You know what I mean? So.
Well, it's interesting just, too, that there's the polar opposite of us, too. People that will go out of their way to try to have injuries or make injuries worse so they get the
attention.
The attention or the, what else do you call that? The pity.
Right, yeah.
Right? Like, that's my fear.
Look how bad my life is.
Yeah, that's my fear, like, to be incompetent and whatever.
Yeah.
And,
used to be mine, too.
And like, some people love that.
Dude. To feel, well, I think also because both of us have our hobbies, and not only our hobbies, our passions are quite physical.
Yep.
Or they require a certain degree of physical capability. And
mental.
And mental for sure.
Strength.
But if you take the physical away, we lose our passion, so to speak, or we need to find new passions that don't require a working body, which is tough, but trust me.
Yeah.
But anyway, if we lose our passion, we lose our fire, and then what's the point? Right? So there's kind of that whole next level thinking where, I don't know. I don't want, what happens then? Mm-hmm. I've had a hard time.
Yeah, I bet, man. Nothing's easy. Yeah. What the hell were we talking about the other day, too? I wanted to touch on. I don't want to lead you astray. Commitment.
Yeah.
How the girls say we have commitment problems, and you're like, man, we're like the most committed.
We're the most committed dudes ever.
Dude, I've thought about that so many times after you said that.
Yeah.
And because I've always rolled with that, I'm like, I got commitment issues. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to say right now, this moment, and it's all good, then perfect.
Yep.
And then when you said that, we're like the most committed fucking people out there. That's crazy, man.
But then here's the thought. Well, then what is it?
I don't know.
Right, yeah. Oh, there's a new can of worms.
Oh, shit. We'll just stick to commitment.
Yeah, it's definitely commitment. Just never mind the fact that I've been to the gym 5 times a week or 3 times a week for the last 15 years, but definitely commitment issues.
Yeah, yeah. Making sure you got enough protein to last the weekend and everything packed up,
I'm weighing my chicken so I don't run out a day early. Fuck me.
Yeah, you can't commit to fuck all
as
your alarm's going off because you got to get to bed so you have your 8 hours sleep.
So I can get up and go to the gym.
Yeah.
Legit. Yeah, well, if that's not the problem, then what is? Womp womp.
I don't know. Maybe we'll have to have the girls on here to tell us again.
Yeah, we should find some exes to bring them on. I'd be like,
dude, that would be hilarious, man. Do you think you'd have some that'd be willing?
I have to find some in the country.
That would
That's
be
the hard part.
super interesting to do, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be down.
Yeah, you got to wait till the borders open up. But once that's clear, we'll be able to get your guests.
Have to go back.
It'll
a
be
few
a
years.
Skype with Muscle Bill's woman's going to be a monitor.
There's a little microphone plugged into the iPhone. We're breaking up.
All right, let's say we had 2 of our ex-girlfriends on here. Okay,
yeah.
What would be the question you'd want to ask her? Your first question.
Ooh. That's a good question. I'd probably ask how long did it take after to surpass how we bagged? You know what I mean?
I knew it.
Yeah,
I fucking
absolutely.
knew it. It'd be something about that.
Yeah, I'd be like,
I thought you were going to say, have you ever got bagged better?
Has that ever been happened? Yeah, that's right. But that sounds kind of egotistical. So if I phrased it in the sense that assuming maybe it did happen, and then they said no, I'd be like, all right, just checking.
Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, I'm kind of surprised, but
that's an interesting question.
Yeah.
How long till you found someone that could bang better?
Yeah. Well, that gets into, I mean, you could get into emotional connection on that too, or not. But either way,
No,
there's a whole
you'd
full
want
pitch.
that answer.
Yeah.
That's a great answer to know.
What about you?
I'd ask what my biggest fault is.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one too.
Because I've actually had this happen where an ex-girlfriend that I cared about, I actually thought I was going to marry this girl. She, and I still think she's a sweetheart. It's just a couple things didn't jive with me.
Didn't work.
Yeah, I just don't see that going down. And she came back and visited me, and we were having some wine, and we were just talking. I said, listen, she said, what's the worst thing about me? And I told her what I thought. And it was like pretty deep, right? Like I put some thought into this.
Yeah, right.
I go to her, I'm like, what's the worst thing? We dated for over a year. She lived with me for a bit. She's like, the amount of weed you smoke. I'm like, the weed I smoke? I go, that's the worst thing. That's it. And dude, I was all smiles. I'm laughing. And she's like, why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
Yeah.
You smoke weed every day. I'm like, and I'm nice to you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Does it interfere with any problems? No.
Right.
Well, what was the issue? Well, you did it all the time. It didn't affect anything. I go, I'll take that answer all day. Yeah, all day. Thank you. I was so happy. I was like done with the conversation. After that.
You walked away, had a great day, for sure.
I was all smiles. Yeah, that was, it'd be neat, man.
Yeah.
I would love to it'd be sweet if we could get like a few of them.
Just get a lineup.
Like get 6,
Yeah.
3 each.
That'd be sick.
And let them all argue about it.
I think we'd have to cherry pick a little bit because some of mine would not get along because there were some issues there wasn't overlap, but kind of.
It wasn't overlap, but there was some issues.
We have to get more than one coach.
Talk about Peter on the bush. It'd be even better if we just found out which girlfriends would be willing to be on, which exes, and then we post it online, and the viewers pick which ones they want.
Like so and so.
Yeah. Have a little like bio.
Oh man,
craziness level because people will want the crazy ones on.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That would be a blast.
Yeah,
I don't think too many would be keen on that though.
No,
I think more so because of recent boyfriends.
Right. Yeah.
And chances are, man, we'd have our ex-girlfriends here and we'd have a blast.
Oh, dude, yeah. Yeah. There's only like probably 2 exactly that, well, maybe 1. Anyway, for the most part, they're all civil now.
Yeah.
Like, it's all good.
Yeah,
There's no like hostility. There was maybe hostility initially or whatever. There's that separation period and then it's all good, you know?
Yeah. I got a bit of hostility too, but it's for no reason, you know what I mean? Just from breaking up and just splitting up. Like,
no, that's just it. It's just like, well, this didn't work. It's disappointment. It's heartache and all that stuff. It's not like, you know, whatever. But that'd be fun.
That would be. I'm trying to think if I have a girlfriend that would be like, that's just absolutely hates me, but I don't know if I do. I know a few probably not impressed, but.
Yeah. I don't think I do.
Yeah, I don't think I do either.
Yeah.
Like some people have major issues with exes and stuff, man, and I'm glad I don't have that drama.
I've had a few good conversations with some of them too. Like I said, the one was the eye contact thing. It was a big eye opener for me. She was
what was that about again? You're intimidating because
she's like I met up with her for a coffee, and this was maybe a couple years ago or whatever. Just she's married now, everything's whatever, it's all good, and just catching up. And she's like, we sat down, get a coffee. She looks at me and she's like, I'm just as scared of you today as I was the day we met. And I was like, okay, what? She's like, you're staring right into me. And I'm like, okay, like, I don't know what to do with this. And she's like, you don't understand that most guys don't give me eye contact.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't know if I'm intimidating or whatever. She's like, you're here. And I don't know what to do with it.
But you're like that though.
Yeah.
Like when you're talking to someone, they know you're talking. Like
that's just it.
You're like fully involved in that person, right?
And she was like, at that time, she's like, to this day, I've never met another man who's done that. And she's like I said, it was a very neat conversation because I'm like, well, now where do I look?
Yeah.
I'm still going to look at you. I don't know.
Yeah.
So if you want me to look at your boobs, I will because they're good. But like otherwise, I don't know. She's like, no, it's very different. And I was like, okay,
She likes it.
it's neat. Yeah. But it was nice to hear because it's like, all right, well, I have heard that I'm intimidating a lot. And like that is definitely a perception a lot of people who don't know me well have had. Mm-hmm. So it's like, all right, even this girl I dated for months, I don't remember how long for sure, but maybe a year, I don't know. She's the whole time was fucking intimidated by me. Which obviously, I mean, that also turns up the heat in some senses because it's awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was a big eye opener. I'm like, huh. But then it was reaffirmed by another friend of mine. No sexual history there, but the exact same thing. It's like, it's very intense. I'm like, well, I'm consistent.
Yep, that's right. You're consistent.
Overlying message, good for me because eye contact, and I still sneak in the boobs.
Committed.
Yep.
And intimidating.
That's right. I should make my new Tinder profile.
And a rational thinker.
Rational mind 101.
Looking for wavy, emotional woman.
Yes.
Not people.
People's not a good one.
No.
I'm like, where's the...
Woman from day one.
Yes.
Dude, I filled out a thing the other day.
Yeah.
And sex was an open box.
What?
Sex was an open box. It wasn't M or F anymore at the doctor's office.
Right.
So I'm like, what all do you want to know in this? And they're like, well, some people have like full out fucking titles now. And then after sex, it's had gender. So I'm like, well, what the fuck is this part?
Yeah.
Because this has the M and F.
Right.
They're like, well, you can be whatever sex you want.
Right.
But when it comes down to the medical paperwork, we need to know if you're male or female.
I gotcha.
I'm like, all right, male on both.
It's a whole world I don't know. Like, I'm 100% ignorant to that, and it's by choice, but I don't have any firsthand up close experience. Like, I just don't. So I don't educate myself because I have no need to. I feel like,
and I don't care.
No, like if I'm hurting someone's feelings, I expect them to tell me, and if they don't tell me, it's on them. So
yeah, if they want to,
anyway.
tuck it back to their butt, who cares? I don't.
Oh, yeah, I don't.
You know what I mean? Like, or either way, I'd have one added on. It fucking doesn't change my life at all. The only thing it did is confuse me because I had a box for sex and then another fucking sex question.
Well, then you just have to ask. Like, I think I know how to answer these questions, but
I'm not sure. I've never dealt with this. I come from a small town, and I don't deal with this. But that's the first time I've ever seen that, like on paper, officially, right? So it's all changed now. Yes.
I saw there was another box. I don't know if it was like a Z or an X or something, but there was M, F, and then
like a non-binary or whatever.
Yeah, some type of other. Which again, I don't know what it was for sure. But anyway, I know which one to check for me, so that's all I really concern myself about.
Same.
Yeah. It's a general message for life, really. If it doesn't affect my day to day, I'm going to minimize the amount of stress I have about it.
This might put you in a spot where you might not want to answer it.
Sure.
But let's say you meet a chick, and 3 months in, she tells you she was a dude.
Right.
Does it change anything?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it would be. I would have to process that. I'd have to have a conversation about it.
It would be hard to take in.
Well, I think I would immediately understand why they didn't tell me initially.
Yeah.
But I would also then acknowledge the fact that they lied to me for 3 months.
Yeah.
Or hid something very important about their lives to me. So I think I would, again, rational mind, think what would the equivalent thing for me be to not tell them, and how would they respond if I didn't tell them that thing?
Yeah. How bad do I think that is?
Right. And like for me, in principle, that's a big fucking no, because that's a huge thing. You just hid 20 years of your life, 25 years, a pretty major fact.
Yep.
And you hid it from me. So I understand why. Absolutely. It's not an easy conversation to have. It absolutely would deter many people. Understand totally. But at the end of the day, you lied and hid something. And what was the fucking saying I used to hear all the time? Whatever. Basically, not saying something is still lying, right?
Right.
So,
yeah.
Be like, all right, well, what else are you going to lie to me about? Like, fuck. I'm not cool with that. So I think that would change things in that aspect 100%. Otherwise, I don't know how I would deal with it, because I don't think I would go past the fact that it was just hid. You know what I mean? It's like, well, what if I don't know, somehow hid the fact that I have major health problems and blah, 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 blah. Like, these are all major factors in my life and all these things. somehow, I mean, I can't hide that, but
Yeah.
anyway, if I did, and I was like, oh yeah, by the way, shit's a little rough under the hood. Like,
and she's like, wait till you check out my hood.
yeah, that's right. Like, high five, let's go.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know what I mean? I don't know. It'd be, what about you?
First off, it'd be hard to swallow because I'd be like, what?
Yeah. Surprise.
Yeah, I'd be surprised. And I don't know. I feel like you say, I understand why they wouldn't say something, but you're tricking someone.
Right.
In my opinion. What it comes down to is you just bullshitted me.
Yes.
For an extended amount of time.
You're wasting, yes.
On something that I did not ask you.
Yes.
Like I didn't even push you to lie.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's choosing to lie is its underlying principle. Exactly. What
yes, that was one of my big things with one of my girlfriends was.
Yes.
I realized your lie was small. Like when the relationship, when I called it to an end,
Yep.
and she's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Well, this and this. I caught you lying." Like,
yes.
She goes, "Well, that's not that big of a deal." I go, "Listen, the principle of it is because I didn't ask you to lie. You went out of your way to lie to me.
I didn't ask you a question about why you lied.
No,
it's like,
no, I didn't put you in a position you needed to lie, anything like that.
Nope.
And you decided to lie. So if you were willing to come at me with a lie, you're obviously going to defend yourself with lies or whatever, right? Whatever suits you better."
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah, it would be a difficult conversation to have for sure. And that's, I guess, unfortunate, but it's like at the end of the day, I mean, I've dealt with a lot relationship wise, and I don't care to waste energy wondering if someone's being honest with me or not.
100%.
And that's just, it's such a fucking drain. And like I said, with all the plates and stuff, like in the context of my day to day, that's such a bullshit thing to think about that I don't want to deal with it. And it's like, all right, I'm not going to. So to solve that problem, you're just not going to be in my life.
I find you and I have a very small bullshit threshold where a lot of people would take more than we would before acting upon it.
Sure. No, I actually, that was affirmed by someone like a week or so ago. I had a conversation and she was like, he was whatever, describing you to someone and said, he just doesn't have time for bullshit.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's awesome to hear someone else say about me completely in private without nothing prompted.
Yeah.
I'm like, I appreciate that. And anyway.
Well, you're representing yourself well then and truthfully and honestly, right? And if other people see it.
That's another big hole I find is like self-awareness is great, but then you can't perceive how people actually internalize and perceive you. You can only guess and assume how they internalize and perceive you, right? So it's still within your own mind. So you have no idea what they're thinking.
Yeah.
It's the same as if I say something to you, I have no idea how you internalize it. Yeah. I just have to think to myself, oh, Joel smiled, he didn't punch me in the face, so it's clearly not mad about it.
Yeah.
Right?
It's all good.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. But in that same context, I think in general, like we have no idea what other people think about us. So it's neat to be it's neat to be surprised. I like hearing shit like, whoa, you thought about that about me? And I had no idea. Like, that's a big eye opener. I'm like, how did I miss that?
Man, I love hearing people's thoughts on me or when people talk shit about me.
Yes.
I like hearing feedback just to see what's out there because I don't pay attention to it. I don't pay attention to what I portray because I'm just portraying it. Mm-hmm. I'm just doing my thing.
You put it down. Yep.
I don't have an act together and then I'm going to see if my act is carrying out.
Right.
And, reputation is getting around. I just hear shit once in a while. I'm like, fuck, that's me?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah, I guess. Exactly. I find it very interesting and I've never lost sleep over it, and I plan to keep it that way. But it is also just neat to hear, both the good and the bad. It's like, oh no shit, I never would have thought that. So it's very much, and again, those are doors you can't open on your own. So most of the time, we're never made aware of it.
I'd like to know more of that, especially from ex-girlfriends, because
they see the most intimate things. They have the most intimate experience with you in time. So they have the most insight that more people likely don't have.
And sometimes they'll see us when we aren't thinking rationally. I know I've got caught up with emotion. When I was younger, man, I was driven off emotion, right? I was fucking kind of nuts.
Sure.
And rational thinking wasn't always there.
Yep.
booze also plays a part in that. But to see the difference now in myself compared to then, I would love to hear what the fuck they say, because sometimes you get caught up, and they would see that totally unscripted, unrehearsed side of you that, you know, like you just blew up because of emotion. You couldn't hold it in anymore. I know I've spazzed out before.
I was saying, absolutely.
Right? You have. So they've seen those outbursts where nobody else has, because nobody else can get a rise out of me like a girlfriend can.
That's right.
Because I don't give a shit enough. But if I love a girl, they could fuck with my
the button's there.
My behavior, right?
I have in years after, like, exes or whatever, I have had some conversations and had, like, been made aware of that. It's very neat. Things that I was concerned about and, like, stuck out in my mind as my big flaws or my big, you know, mishappenings, and then I'm like, fuck, I fucked up with that. They didn't even mention it. They're like, oh, you know, you're understanding. You're really, like, you're one of the best men to me in general. Like, in the relationship wasn't perfect, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, they're like, you were good to me. Yeah. And, like, it just didn't work out. And it was very much like, oh, I've been, like, not losing sleep, but I'm like, fuck, like, I fucked that up, and, like, I can improve, and I feel like I do better now, and all these things in my mind, and these
judging your own character.
Yep, I'm like, fuck, like, those are things that bother me, because I don't want that to be part of my, not persona, but, you know, my exuded person.
Yeah.
And anyway, it didn't last with them at all. They're like, oh yeah, I remember that, but, like, it was a thing. Like, it makes sense, whatever, and I understand that that's downplaying it to a degree, but at the same time, water under the bridge. And to apply my own concept, just what do we do now?
Yeah.
Right? And I think sometimes the thing is nothing, which I have trouble with. Like, sometimes there's nothing to do now because it's already done.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah.
And nothing is hard, man. Nothing is the hardest thing.
Exactly. If I can't improve something, then what do I do with it?
Yeah. Why?
Well, I just said it.
Fuck is this?
Right? It's like
pure confusion. Yeah.
So, but that's, you turn up the knob on acceptance.
Yeah.
Fair enough, and carry on.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Anyway, that's fun. We should maybe drop some DMs sometime and see if there's anybody from the past.
I'm going to, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. We could definitely do one because the mics. It'd get hard if we had more than two, but anyway.
2 for sure we'd need, but it would be hilarious to just have their perspectives of us, but another perspective of us, because I know there's 2 girlfriends out there that would have entirely different...
Well, different stages of life.
Yeah.
Right?
Like one of my most recent ones, she'll tell you I went to church and I sung the loudest in the church with her family and all that. I went to church with them one day. This other girl might tell you I'm fucking gangster and watch out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
we could do the Zoom at your place too, though. That'd be
that'd be kind of cool.
Then we could have as many people.
Dude, this is super interesting. It'll be really reflective for us. I think it'd be good for us, man.
Oh yeah, man, I'm down.
Because, like you say, I know I'm more focused on. I'm a positive person, but when it comes to my actions, I definitely dwell on my negative ones more than my positive ones.
We want to improve.
Yeah, because
we apply the gym mindset.
That's not good. Need better.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess the gym mindset. My bench sucks.
Yep.
Fix that.
Movement, muscle, whatever. Like, I'm going to work on this because I can. It's an area for improvement.
Yeah.
I like shining light into areas of improvement, especially when they're like big ones that are easy to make improvements on.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not hard to come by. Like, if you're already good at a bunch of stuff, it's super hard to notice when you're getting better. But when you're real shit at something, it's real easy to be like, I did a little bit better, like, real quick.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. First time going to the gym versus 10 years into the gym, big difference.
Well, just like dealing with that chick there.
Oh, yeah.
I thought I did great.
Yep.
Like, overall went really well, and she was appreciative. But in the end, I looked up and there's like, I got lots of room to improve.
Yeah. But that's all theoretical too, right? I think what I would say in that situation, I would have the conversation with her specifically and say, are you open to having a conversation about how I can do better next time?
Yeah.
Because I'm not familiar with this. I don't know how to deal with this in general.
Yeah.
But then also, I don't know what your personal preferences are in a circumstance like that. So having those conversations, I think, is hard. And those are also conversations that I do believe necessary to be in a relationship for me moving forward. If I can't ask reflective or introspective question about something that was unpleasant or hard. Maybe not immediately after, but even immediately after, because I do that sometimes. But at any point after, like, I'm not interested. Because if you can't deal with if it's the emotions turned down and we can't talk about things in a productive manner, how am I going to know how to deal with it next time? Because if theoretically there are things that I didn't do 100% right, so what can I improve upon? Right? And if I don't know, I apply that to everything.
Luckily, I think we are better at this than we think, maybe because of practice with communication, or maybe just the life we live, because the bar is set low out there.
Dude.
Just the one thing I said to the girl near the end, I said, if there's anything I could do to make your life better, I'm here for you anytime, and don't be scared to tell me. Okay? And she was getting in tears, and she's like, my boy that I've been with for 2 years or whatever, my man, has never asked me, is there anything I could do to make your life better?
Right.
Has never said those words, right? And I'm guessing no words like it. I'm guessing, I don't know.
Yeah, seemed like it.
It seemed like it at the time, right? Where I'm like, I'm thinking I'm a white belt at this communication thing.
Yes.
I think there's people that just fucking still haven't went to the gym yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
still haven't got their 10-day pass.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like
so we're doing all right.
It's like that old joke. I remember I was like, I want to say maybe 10. I don't know, my cousin. He's like, I'm going to tell you this now so you're ready for when you're older. And I was like, okay. He's like, you know how a real man knows when his woman has an orgasm? Real man doesn't give a fuck. Stuck with me every day. But it's like completely opposite. It's like, wow, at 10 years old, whatever, I don't know, 11, I'm like, that's definitely wrong. Yeah. I don't even know what that means. Yeah. But I know I don't agree with it.
Don't seem right.
And I'm very, very thankful that I had that conversation, and awareness started young, I guess. But anyway, white belt mentality is, I forget who, somebody I follow said about that shit. I should cite them. I'm going to forget. Anyway, thank you to the guy on the internet I follow. He's probably a buddy.
It was at Punchy Paquette.
It's a great mentality in life. Everything. Because if you're not ready to learn, you don't show up every day ready to learn or willing to learn. Even if you don't necessarily learn something of note, be ready tomorrow. Yeah. Fucking get ready, get at it. I feel like Jacko Wilnick talking on the microphone right now. Get up, get after it.
That's right.
Make an appointment, donate blood, save a life. Mic drop.
Bye.
Bye. We are back with another episode of the Maximum Meathead podcast with the Coffee Bean. I can't even do it.
With the Coffee Bean. That's our guest today. Welcome to the podcast, Coffee Bean. Where were you going to roll with that?
You said coffee?
Coffee bean.
Oh, I thought you said like Cuffy. I'm like, what the fuck
What's
is
a coffee bean?
Dude,
man, we have to, between Sphinxter, coffee bean, like, we got to get it together.
I thought you made the word up. I'm like, dude.
Coffee bean.
Coffee bean.
Yeah, coffee bean. All right.